what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Broken Tables podcast for February 11th, 2022. I am your host, Jeffrey Vegas, and I got my co-host, Rome, here with me. How you doing tonight, man?
What's up, man?
Nothing much, man. Just enjoying another night of some Rampage after an awesome week of Dynamite,
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good Rampage.
Yeah, absolutely. We had 4 matches tonight. Started off with Trent and Rocky Romero, Roppongi versus the Young Bucks. We had their entrances starting on YouTube. I don't know if you caught that, but you could have caught their entrances on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, I did see that today. I was getting ready to sit down and watch the show, so I didn't get to check it out on YouTube, but I did see it. Thought it was a little cool. I mean, it didn't line up completely with the show because I think that the entrances went live at 10. So if you want to watch the entrances, I think you might have missed like the first minute or so of the actual match.
Yeah, right. It didn't line up properly. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think that they thought that through very well. But I mean, it's cool to get those entrances down because I mean, part of the fun of wrestling is the entrances. So I love that when they don't have the time for TV, that they make sure to show you the entrances on YouTube and stuff.
All right. So, looks like I kind of messed something up there again. We had some music playing during our opening here just now. So, welcome to the Broken Table Show, guys. This is for February 11th, 2022. I'm your host, Jeffrey Vegas. We're here with my buddy Rome. He is our co-host.
How you doing, man?
And no problem, man. We're just gonna get right into it here. There was just a little music playing over us. That's all. I had it turned up, so I just turned it down, and now we're good to go.
Gotcha.
All right, so this match started off like 100 miles an hour, man. I was pretty impressed with Rocky Romero. I think this was only my second time seeing him wrestle.
Yeah, I've checked out some of his stuff. That's not in AEW. Big fan of him. I think he's awesome. I think a lot of these, New Japan guys coming over to AEW, I think that's my favorite. That's my favorite Forbidden Door crossings. Like the New Japan guys are really good. So it was great to see Rocky Romero, Roppongi Vice come out in a classic rivalry between the Young Bucks and Roppongi Vice, and I thought that this match was awesome. It was an excellent match. It was my favorite match of the night.
Nice. I do like how they're letting these guys bring back their old tag team names and stuff like that, because these guys haven't wrestled together since 2019.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this last week, but it's just AEW respects your intelligence as a viewer. They're not going to act like these guys have never teamed before. And if they, do put them together, they're going to acknowledge it. It's not going to be like these guys, they have really good chemistry. Something must be up. Wink, wink. Like, no, like they were a great tag team in Japan who had a great rivalry with the Bucks. And that rivalry continued tonight. And again, I thought this was a really fun match. I loved that at the beginning of the match, the Young Bucks doing the heel move of trying to get the count out attempt by luring Roppongi Vice up the ramp and doing the super kick party. That was great.
A great spot. I love that.
So I loved a lot of things in this match. The Cassidy and Danhausen spot was really funny for me.
Yeah.
Just the same way that you're kind of like a Dark Order mark, I am absolutely a best friends mark.
Okay,
These
nice.
guys are awesome. There's not much that I think that they can do wrong. I mean, there's not one person in that group that doesn't entertain the hell out of me, both in the ring and out of the ring.
Yeah, I agree. I like all the guys and the lady as well.
Yep,
they're pretty good.
Yeah, but this was just such a fun match. I mean, even funny heel stuff. I think the Young Bucks. We talked about FTR the other last episode being one of the best tag teams. In my mind, the Young Bucks are the best tag team in wrestling, hands down. Great baby faces, great heels. The spot where Matt tagged in with Trent. So Trent thought, oh, thank God, Rocky Romero's tagging in. And then Matt was like, nope, it's me. I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, that was a good spot. The one thing, I'll go back to the Danhausen spot. when Danhausen curses people, they've been having them still win. I'm like, you got to protect that Danhausen curse, man. They need to lose.
Um, no, I mean, I think for what it is, it's good. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't need to have Danhausen curse them and then they lose. But it's funny to see like Danhausen curse them and then they immediately get hit from
Yeah.
usually a suicide dive. Great spot.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Man, the suplexes in this match, I think everyone was just like, all right, let's drop each other on our heads like 4 or 5 times. It'll be great.
Yeah, I was watching and I was just at one point I said out loud, "Man, Suplex City, bitch!"
Yeah, yeah.
Like an
um,
actual Suplex City.
I think my favorite spot in the match was the Doomsday device where Matt lands on his feet. That was fantastic.
Yeah, all in all, really, really fun match. Great wrestling, great comedy, great humor, putting it all together. I mean, great tag team wrestling. Yeah, I thought this night was a textbook example of AEW just having great tag team wrestling bookending the show. Like
Yeah.
really just fantastic.
They tied that ending together so well. It just flowed right into the finish, so that was nice.
Yeah, I thought the post match was great too. I mean, between Orange Cassidy and Brandon Cutler, which I love. Brandon Cutler is such a geek, and
Yeah.
it's just the best. It is just the absolute best thing. And he really, he's got the cold spray, and he's spraying it into Orange Cassidy's face, and Cassidy's like, "Bro, I'm wearing sunglasses."
Yeah.
And it was just great. He just no sold it, and Cutler's just like, "No, eventually I'm gonna get you right here. I'm just gonna keep spraying." They do the kick spot, which love the kick spot. The Young Bucks are on the outside of the ring, looking very concerned for Cutler. It leads to our first in-ring AEW Jay White sighting. Yeah, which that's going to be great. We're going to go over next week in AEW in terms of matches and the cards. Jay White is on the card next week, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I've been waiting to see him in AEW for a while now. He looked
Absolutely.
good too. He's got some size in his arms now. Like back when he was in New Japan, he looked a little scrawny, but he's getting bigger.
Yeah, man.
All right, so next up we had a little promo with Hobbs and Ricky Starks at the table there. Dude, Hobbs looks like an absolute superstar with that fur coat and those sunglasses on.
Yeah, I mean, they say that great characters are just wrestlers who are being themselves turned up to 11, and
Yeah,
I think that that's definitely the case with Hobbs there. I mean, I think the dude is who his character is. He just turns the volume way up.
yeah,
I
it
think
was
it's
great.
great.
I just love that fur coat is just the perfect accessory for him for whatever reason, but I love it.
Yeah, I think it's just a great look. That sets up for a match for Rampage next week, which again we will get into later on the show. Um, the next segment is the Brian Danielson promo. Tony Schiavone's backstage with Brian Danielson. Um, Brian Danielson reveals that the match with Mox teaming up with Punk didn't really bother him so much, and that he sees them as two different opportunities. He saw the opportunity from last week being Mox teaming with Punk as a one night stand, whereas he sees his partnership with Mox being more of a long term alliance. We get interrupted by Matt Sydal and Lee Moriarty. Matt Sydal upset because of what Brian Danielson said last week to Mox about taking Lee Moriarty away from Matt Sydal to better Lee Moriarty. I thought this was a really great segment with a lot of great wrestling talent. It sets up for some really good professional wrestling matches. Obviously Brian Danielson's a star here, but Matt Sydal's no slouch, and
Oh
neither
no.
is Lee Moriarty.
I actually really enjoyed this segment. This was one of my favorite Brian Danielson segments since he's been in AEW, specifically for I guess one or two lines. So he called the CM Punk and John Moxley relationship a one night stand, and he said, "I want a long term relationship." I lost
Yeah,
my shit. That was one of the funniest things I've ever heard come out of his mouth. And then when he was speaking to Moriarty and he got serious at the end, and said, show me that violence next week, he was actually scary. Like, that was one of the first times I've looked at Brian, and he was like scaring me just the way he was acting.
Yeah, just the tone, and he's just so serious about it. And I love Brian Danielson as a heel. I
Right.
loved Daniel Bryan as a heel, but I like love Brian Danielson as a heel. It's just like you said, like that line, like he was just so serious and just his manner, and it's phenomenal stuff. Brian Danielson is having the time of his life. You could tell he's he came to AEW so that way he could have the freedom as a performer to go as far as he felt he can go or needs to go, and he just every week it's fantastic. It's just he's the best, probably one of the best wrestlers in the world. He is the best wrestler in the world
He's
in
definitely
terms of
my
in ring. In terms of in ring, he is the best wrestler in the world.
absolutely, completely agree. He's definitely
Yeah.
my number
So
one at the moment.
yes, but so that was a great promo, and that set up for the next match, which was Britt Baker versus Robin Renegade.
Yes.
Um, you know, I thought that this was a much better match than I was expecting. I thought that this was going to be some enhancement match because Rampage usually puts 4 matches on the card, and then they kind of let one or two of those matches last about like a minute and a half, which is fine. I mean, usually they're in the middle of the Rampage card, and they do their purpose. They get a star on the show, and they give that star a win. And Britt Baker did walk away with the win on this one, but I thought it was a really good match. I thought Robin Renegade looked great. I would like to see more of her in AEW. I don't know if I would start her at the top, but I would definitely get her in there. If she's not signed, I would sign her and put her on Dark Elevation and see where we go. But yeah, no, I thought it was a great showing from Robin Renegade.
Yeah, I actually I thought the same thing. I thought this was going to be kind of a squash match cuz I've seen these two I believe in Dark, one of the Darks, Dark Elevation or Dark. And they're twins. So she's got a twin sister who wrestles with her named Charlotte. And they were decent, they were serviceable. So I kind of thought she was gonna get squashed. But throughout the week, I started seeing people say, hey, this women's match, wait till you guys see this. And it was from people who were actually there. And I
Mm.
was definitely impressed. Like that first opening 2 minutes of this match, Robin looked fantastic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought it was a great showing from both. I thought Britt looked really good too. We were talking last episode about how I've been kind of underwhelmed by Britt, the last few months. This wasn't anything special in terms of, an overall match. It was probably like what, 7 or 8 minutes, nine
Yeah.
minutes. But for what it was supposed to be or what I thought it was going to be, I was very impressed. I thought it was great. Thought both looked really great. Um, I did notice that it was interesting that Jamie Hayter wasn't out there when the match started.
Yeah.
That would, you know, take into effect in the post match when she came out along with Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa. I think that it's a great opportunity to, we talked about it last week where, okay, they're bringing Mercedes Martinez in for Jamie Hayter's spot.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that that's going to be a storyline. Like, that's great. Like, that makes it more manageable to me because the thought process is that we know what we're doing here. We know that we're bringing Mercedes in for the exact same spot that Jamie was in. And I think that that's great. This could lead to Jamie. It might lead to a face turn from Jamie Hayter, which I think
Oh
she
yeah.
could handle.
Oh yeah.
Again, I'm a fan of Jamie Hayter. I think she's got some great in ring skills. She's got a great look to her. Like, I think it could be really good for her
I
to
actually
feud with Mercedes.
Yeah, I actually think as far as in-ring skills go, I think Jamie Hayter's in top 5 in AEW, if not top 3. So yeah, I would definitely hope they're gonna turn her face and possibly give her a push. But
Yeah, he's very
what I
good.
was confused on is, like I said, I know that these girls are twins, and I've seen her sister with her. So the fact that she wasn't out there at all was a little, puzzling. But I'm hoping they're gonna try doing some of that twin magic stuff, so they're not showing the twin on Rampage or right now. So maybe in the future they may do some of that switcheroo type stuff.
Maybe I think that just for the spot that it was, I think that they just didn't want to get too complicated with it.
Yeah.
Um, who knows? There's Tony Khan likes doing these kind of enhancement matches as tryout matches.
Yep.
So maybe this will lead to something down the road. It would be nice. We will see what happens.
All right, so next they sent Hook, man.
They did. Um, Hook is over as fuck.
Oh yeah.
And so anytime we do these post Rampage podcasts, which is hopefully going to be every week, I'm going to sound very, very similar to what I say in the previous week.
Yeah.
Hook is just phenomenal. We were lucky to see him at the second live show that we went to last month. This guy's got it all. He's got the looks. He's got the moves. Haven't really heard him on the mic, but you don't need to hear him on the mic. This guy does all the talking and his mannerisms, how he presents himself. Tony Khan went out and spent money on his entrance music. Like, it's just, the guy has an aura to it. He has the it factor. He really does.
Yeah. The kid's hair, I just don't understand how it stands up for him like that. It's like some Dragon Ball Z shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd was hot for him when he came out.
But yeah.
Everything he does looks great. Excuse me.
Oh
Everything he
yeah.
does looks great. Like, this guy's just phenomenal. During the match, he countered a hip toss midair
Yep.
and landed on his feet. And like, that was great. It looked awesome. He looks like $1 million. Every time this guy's out there, he looks like big money. He looks like someone that matters. He looks important. He looks like a star. It's building
Absolutely.
a star. We
Yep.
are seeing at the beginning of building a star. Like, AEW has these storylines in them that I feel like become like the main storyline. They may not be the main event storyline, but they're the main story of the show. And I think a few years from now, I think Hook's going to be that storyline. We've watched Hook debut as just some dude in Team Taz coming out to the ring with everybody. And we're still watching the evolution of Hook, and it's super impressive to see just homegrown talent in this company just come in with literally zero, with literally nothing. Like, sure, he's Taz's son,
Yeah.
but take him being Taz's son out of the equation, and this guy has already he's achieved the amount of growth that I don't think anyone in WWE, for example, has had pretty much ever, unless your name is Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Um, it's just phenomenal.
Who could ever make just like holding a bag of potato chips cool? You know what I mean? Like the fact that he made that character that just chills with a backpack and a bag of potato chips in his hand, like that's amazing.
Yeah, Hook is great. And again, Hook usually is on Rampage. Whenever we do these post Rampage shows, I'm gonna say the exact same thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
also think it's a great starting point for him to have this feud with the Factory, because the Factory is basically the jobber heel, not jobber. We don't use that word anymore, but the enhancement heel faction. And yeah, I think he's just tearing through the Factory, and I think it's a great thing. Do
yeah.
you think Do you think that they put Hook on Revolution against QT Marshall?
I do. I think that's what this is leading to.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if that should make the card or not, because it just seems too soon. I want
Yeah.
to see Hook really build up a repertoire of wins on Rampage. I think Hook should be like the Rampage guy,
Oh yeah.
at least for a while, because Hook is money. Hook draws ratings. Like, when Hook's on AEW Rampage, the ratings are higher. It's this guy moves the needle.
Yeah. Hook and Jade Cargill, every time they're on the screen, there's a big bump.
Yeah. So I mean, I would like to see Hook at Revolution, but I don't know if it's time yet. I don't think it's a bad idea. Here's an idea. What if we have Hook on the buy-in for the pay-per-view against Marshall?
That's what I was thinking. Like when you said maybe it shouldn't make the card, I was gonna say like on a buy-in, but I don't know if Hook's. I think he's above a buy-in already.
I don't know about that yet, but I mean, again, dude's money. Dude looks great.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a star someday.
Back to the match real quick. You had already mentioned the one spot that I was gonna talk about where he went to do the hip toss and he just basically did a front flip over him and landed on his feet. But the other spot was the dude jumped off the top ropes to do the splash, and Hook pulled the Samoa Joe and just kind of stepped out of the way. That was great.
Yeah, yeah, great match. Hook obviously won.
The
So,
red rum.
yep. Which I still call it the Kaja Hajime. Like I'm
The
always gonna
Kaja
go.
Hajime, yeah.
Yeah, man. Big Taz fan. Again, biased Philly wrestling fan. Big Taz fan.
Yeah. All right, so and then we get to our main event here. We had the Gun Club, otherwise known as the Ass Boys, versus Jurassic Express. And right off the bat, I don't know if you noticed it, but the Gun Club's gear was a reference to Shawn Michaels. I thought it looked great.
Yeah, I did notice that. I wrote that in my notes. I put Gun Club trying to be 90s HBK
Yeah,
question mark.
yeah.
Um yeah, I mean it's a decent look. It's definitely a throwback look. I thought that this was overall kind of a solid, good wrestling match. Good tag team match. I love seeing titles defended on TV. I think that
Yes.
that's always really great, and it's a great thing about AW's four pay-per-view a year structure, where these shows matter. These free TV shows matter. They're putting on great matches for these free TV shows, but there's also meaning to these matches, these title matches. Like this is not a match I would like to see on pay-per-view. I like the Gun Club, but let's be real. They're just a
Yeah.
passing challenger.
Yeah.
But the fact that we got a tag team title match on free TV and it was a good match. I don't think it was bad necessarily. I didn't really write a lot of notes down because it was just kind of a textbook classic babyface versus heel tag team match, and it was fun. It was good.
Yeah, there was a couple of spots that I thought were really cool. Jungle Boy's been doing this spot where he like jumps over Luchasaurus, but he kind of like lets his legs hit Luchasaurus's shoulders, and it causes him to do a front flip into a senton. Every time he does that, it looks like it's some sort of a botch, and then it lands perfectly. And I'm just like, what just happened? Like my brain has to comprehend the move.
Yeah, Jungle Boy that's a future world champion right there.
Oh yeah,
Four pillars, but in all seriousness, he's going to be a champ one day. I'm a big believer in Jungle Boy.
absolutely.
I've
He's got
been I've been 100% sold on Jungle Boy as the future of this company since the Double or Nothing Jungle Boy versus MJF match. That was the match where I was like, these are the guys that are going to be feuding for the world title in 5 years.
yep, yep. Now,
So yeah, I thought this was a really fun tag match. Again, like I said earlier, the show was bookended by great tag team wrestling. I preferred the opening match personally, but that's personal preference. Um,
yeah,
Great
you're a
match.
big Bucks guy.
I'm a huge Bucks guy, and I'm also a huge Best Friends guy. So that was my meat and potatoes of this show. They started off and with my most anticipated thing of the night, so I was down for it.
Nice, nice. Now, one thing I thought that was really nice, because kind of the way that the match went, you had Billy Gunn getting involved, and you had Christian getting involved as well, and then the way they finished it off with Jungle Boy hitting the kill switch, little nod over to Christian there for the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I thought about that too. I thought that was a good ending. It was nice to see Billy Gunn and Christian get involved. It's always nice to see some of these legends and more veterans used in really a really respectful way that gives them their time to shine, but also puts the focus on the younger talent.
Yeah,
I think it's always a great, great thing that AEW does with that. Whether it be Jake the Snake and Lance Archer or Matt Hardy for right now and Private Party,
yeah,
things like that. It's great. You get to enjoy all of it. It's the best of both worlds. You don't have to put a part-time old man out there to carry the show. Like that's not necessary. You could have Christian and Billy Gunn there and do all their stuff. Billy Gunn did the DX thing. Christian did, his spear to Billy Gunn. Like you got to enjoy those guys, but you
yep,
didn't have to put the spotlight on them. You let them make the main action better, and I think that means something.
yeah, and I think they accomplished that too. Do you think Christian has given the kill switch to Jungle Boy, or do you think he was just kind of just using it for the night?
I don't know, and I don't know if it's necessary for them to do that. I feel like that's a hot thing in wrestling,
Yeah.
where you'll have like the way like the Miz got the figure four leg lock from Ric Flair, and stuff like that. Like I don't know how I feel about that. Like it's kind of cool. Or like Seth Rollins with the pedigree, like it's cool, but I don't want to overdo it. I like Christian a lot, but I don't know if I consider the kill switch to be a caliber of finisher that you need to pass it down. I mean, it's cool that Jungle Boy uses it, and he can add it to his move set, and he can use it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm hoping that was just kind of a sign that Christian has benefited these guys.
Yeah. I tell you, Colton sold it really well. I like the way he went down to his knees and kind of folded in half instead of doing like a face first onto the mat type thing.
Right? Yeah, that was
Actually,
really good.
it made it look better. I thought.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, and so that was it for Rampage. Champions retain, and I
Yep,
believe that
great
sets
show.
us up for what we got going on next week on Dynamite.
Yep. So we have most of the matches announced for Dynamite. Let me look at my notes real quick. We have 5 matches announced for Dynamite right now, and 2 matches announced for Rampage. So I feel like we have most of the week kind of set up, at least in terms of matches. But let's run through them. So, first match we have is Chris Jericho and Jake Hager versus Santana Ortiz. We talked about this a little last week, or last episode. I think this is going to be a fun match. I want to see the storytelling. I'm more excited to see where the story goes than the match itself. But we'll see what happens with that match.
Yeah, it's showing Jericho and Hager versus Santana and Ortiz, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna be
it
good.
should be
Santana and
next week.
Ortiz, I think, should be next in line for those belts.
I don't know. I think we'll have to see who's available. I mean, based off momentum, I think it might be the House of Black personally.
You know
But
what? Yeah, but I mean, they've only
we'll
had
see.
one official match, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to drop. Are you talking next challenger or the next champions?
The challengers.
Oh.
I
Well,
mean,
no, never mind then.
I do think that when it's time, they're gonna give it to them, to Proud and Powerful.
Yeah, I think they'll get their time. That's the thing that sucks about having such a stacked wrestling roster, though, is there's so many people on this roster that deserve to be champion. Like, there's so
Yeah,
many.
we need another
I think
belt.
about it all the time. Like, it's something that I legitimately, like, after watching Dynamite or watching Rampage, like, I'll watch it and I'll just sit there and be like, man, that guy's awesome. I don't know
Yeah,
if he's ever going to win the title here, though. It's the roster is just too stacked.
yeah, we really do need another belt soon. I think if Rampage ever goes 2 hours, I don't know if you got my text, but I was like, that's it. I need 2 hours of Rampage.
Yeah,
um,
I don't know if adding more championships is the answer. I don't. I want championships to feel prestigious still.
oh, absolutely.
So I think having the world title of both men and women, and then the TV title of both men and women, plus tag titles. Maybe add a trios title. But other than a trios title, I don't really want to see any more belts added to AEW.
Gotcha.
Maybe like a dark belt,
That's
something
exactly
for
where I
something
was
for the
going.
lower card
Yeah,
work with. But other than that, I don't really know if I want to see much else. So I mean, it's just an unnecessary. It's an unfortunate. What's the word I'm looking for? An unfortunate necessity that we have a stacked roster and some of them just won't win championship gold here, and
yeah.
it is what it is.
But yeah, I was actually gonna
Um,
go to that same place. I was gonna say there should be some sort of dark champion, and it should kind of like be almost like a graduation type thing. Like you become the dark champion for a little bit, and then you move up. You know?
yeah, I mean, definitely, it's definitely something that they could do. Um, Next match on the card is the no DQ match between Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez. We
Okay.
talked about this pretty decently last episode as well. I think this is going to be a good match. Based off the card that I have here, it'll probably close the show, I think, or open it at least.
Yeah, Thunder
I think
Rosa's a
it'll be
huge,
solid.
huge draw right now. So you either open or close with Thunder, I would guess.
Yeah, I would expect this to be a good match. Probably see Jamie Hayter get involved, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Next match is Wardlow versus Max Caster of the Acclaimed, and this is a Face of the Revolution qualifying match. I love Max Caster and I love the Acclaimed, but I see this as Wardlow being in the ladder match.
Yeah, Wardlow Max Caster. I don't know. I actually think that's gonna be a squash. I don't think Max is gonna do much there.
I think they'll give him a little bit to work with. I think Max has earned that. Again, I'm a big Acclaimed fan, so I think he'll be okay. But I do think he is going to get the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah. Speaking of the Acclaimed and Thunder Rosa, so Warrior 19 this weekend I was telling you about, the Acclaimed are actually wrestling there as well.
Nice, nice. Who are they wrestling?
You know what? I would have to go check and see who they are facing. One sec here.
Yeah, go ahead. So I'll just get into the next match while you're doing that. The next match is Bryan Danielson versus Lee Moriarty. I'm very excited for this match. I think this is going to be a great wrestling match. You know, like we were saying earlier, Bryan Danielson is just the best wrestler in the world, and he is living his best life, going out there week after week after week, having phenomenal matches. Matches that, you know, like I don't want to say every match he has is a match of the year contender for me, but it's not 100% wrong. I mean,
Oh
since the
yeah.
guy's joined AEW, I can't think of one match he's had that wasn't for me at least like a 4.75 stars.
For me, it's like every match he has, I'm like, that's one of his best matches ever. That's one of his
Yeah.
best matches ever, every time.
Yeah, and then he goes out the next week and tops it. And
Yeah.
I don't know how he keeps doing it. He's the best.
Yeah, he's my favorite wrestler in the world right now, without a doubt. With Kenny Omega on the sideline, Bryan Danielson's without a doubt my favorite at the moment.
See, I always have like a kind of a split where it's like who's my favorite promo, who's my favorite wrestler,
Oh yeah,
and
I could break it down like that. Yeah, yeah.
Bryan Danielson's definitely my favorite in-ring wrestler.
Oh yeah, easy. All right, so on
So
this Warrior 19 thing, so we have Thunder Rosa versus Athena, formerly known as Ember Moon, as their headline for the women's championship. And then we got Bandito versus Dante Martin. And you got the Acclaimed versus Brian Cage and Kid Cage.
hmm.
And kind of crazy here, just Santina versus Speedball. Or Santana, I'm sorry. Santana versus Speedball.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the card.
Yeah, that's going to be nice. Dalton
Yeah,
Castle, Warhorse, Briscoes,
yeah,
and the
that's a good card.
Workhorsemen.
Yeah. Oh, there's JD Drake on there. See that? There you go.
Yeah, I might do a after show. We'll see. Might just do like a watch along or something like that. We'll see what's up on this one.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, no, it looks like a great card. Um, so the last match that we have for Dynamite next week is Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin for the TNT title. I think this is going to be a great match. I'm a big Darby fan. I would like to see him win this. I don't know if he's going to, but you know, this should be a really good match. This will probably, like I said, if Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez open or close, I think this match will be the other side of the show.
Yeah. Speaking of Darby, my Darby Series 1 just showed up today. Freaking awesome.
Oh, nice.
uh, any
So that's going
more?
to be a good match.
Yeah, the Darby match is going to be all of his matches too are fantastic. I can't think of any of his that were bad either.
Yeah, I think that this is a pretty match heavy show, which is good. Last week's episode of Dynamite felt like a very segment promo heavy show. So it's nice to have that balance. So that's what's announced so far for Dynamite. I'm sure we'll get another announcement or two based off of, Monday, Tuesday, we'll usually get something else. So that'll
Yeah.
be fun. We have two matches announced for Rampage next week. The first one being Dante Martin versus Will Hobbs for the qualifier for the Face of the Revolution. This seems like the let's get Dante Martin into a ladder match spot.
Oh man.
So yeah, he'll do something crazy. It'll be a great ladder match at the pay-per-view.
Him and
Um,
Keith Lee in the same ring. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. And then the other match we have announced is Trent versus Jay White. And I'm very excited for this match.
And that's for Rampage next week?
That's for Rampage next week.
Okay. I gotta wait till Friday to see Jay White wrestle. Ugh.
Yep. But you won't have to wait as late as you usually do because Rampage is going to be on at 7 o'clock next week.
What?
Yep. Special start time. It has to do with the NBA All-Star game, I think.
Yeah.
So I was going to wait to this part to have a little bit of a conversation about it because you did text me during the show about Rampage being 2 hours. I don't know if I need Rampage to be 2 hours necessarily, but I do need Rampage to be earlier. I don't.
Yeah.
I hate this Friday night 10 p.m. time slot, and
Yeah.
the ratings show it too. I mean, for the time slot, the ratings are great, but man, these Rampage cards sometimes really just they should be better.
Yeah, I agree. Once we start getting some more of these big names showing up, like Wyndham and who else we got out there? We got Karrion Kross or Samoa Joe. That's
Johnny
where I think we're
Gargano.
gonna need the extra hour. I think, right now I think we're good, but I just want more. You know what I mean? I'm always left wanting more after Rampage.
I agree, but I think that's also kind of the appeal to Rampage, where it's such a fast hour. It's
It
such a
is.
fun fast hour where it flies by. Like
It's
it's just so much fun.
like a tornado just
Um,
comes through the living room and then it's gone.
yeah, it comes super quickly and
Yeah.
it's gone before you know it. Which again, I think there's some value to Rampage being an hour long. I also think that it's hard for Rampage to go to 2 hours with AEW's touring schedule. I
Yeah.
think asking wrestling fans to sit through 7 hours of content in one night is a bit hard of a pill to swallow. I guess it would be more like 6 hours, but it's a lot. It's a lot of wrestling, and breaking it up
Yeah.
over the course of a week is definitely the way to go. By the way, I don't know if you realize, but this is one of those really rare weeks where we had AEW matches every single day this week. Um, we had Elevation on Monday, Dark on Tuesday, Dynamite on Wednesday, a special 4 match Little Dark episode on
Yeah.
Thursday, and then we had Rampage tonight.
Wow.
Yes, so a lot of AEW action. So again, I mean, I think there's enough. I think there's enough time slot there. It's just when is the time slot? I think Friday at 7 o'clock sounds amazing. If you don't want to go up against SmackDown, I get it.
Yeah.
They're an established brand. You want to keep growing. I get it. And I think that's fine. I don't need them to go up against SmackDown yet. But
No.
I think 7 o'clock, man, just get in there at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. I think that's just a way better spot.
I
Ten
like
o'clock
that time
on a
slot too,
Friday
man. It
is
sounds like a good one.
yeah, man. 10 o'clock on a Friday is just really hard. It's really hard to justify. Honestly, 10 o'clock any night is hard to justify.
Oh yeah.
It's just at
Back
that
when I
point in the night, if I have work the next day, I'm probably doing something else, maybe playing a game. I do a lot of gaming before bed, so I don't know. It's just the time slot doesn't really work with my schedule personally.
Yeah, when I used to watch Raw back in the day, man, finishing that final hour of Raw was not easy, especially with
Well,
how
three
shitty it's
hours,
been.
3 hours of Monday Night Raw, even when it's good, is almost unbearable.
Yeah.
Not that it's been good in a while; it's been years since it's been good, but that show is such a time kill. It's awful. It's funny. I used to work nights on Mondays, so I would miss Raw, and I would come home and yeah, have a DVR, and I would watch through what I wanted to watch on Raw, and I'd be done with my Raw watching after about 30 minutes. There was usually like one match or one segment I wanted to see, and then I'd be done with it. Usually the Bray Wyatt segment. This was like 2014 when Bray Wyatt was still the Eater of Worlds type thing.
Yeah.
Um, it was 2014. Yeah, 2014.
Sean Ross Sapp just tweeted out, "I love the way they're building Hook, presentation and everything." It's exactly what we were saying.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. It's just he's perfect. It's just really good. They're building a star, and the guy's going to be huge for a long time, long, long time in this company.
Yeah. Everything about him, he's just got it all. His punches look real, or like they at least look like they connect. and he's got real judo skills. He's got some acrobatics, which I didn't think he had when he made that front flip out of that move tonight. I was like, whoa! I definitely popped for that one, so I'm impressed.
Yeah, like I said, dude looks like a big prize fighter. He looks important. He looks like he matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I have some news throughout the week that I, took note of. Gonna run through these news articles, their news headlines, kind of have some discussion, and we'll see where we go with it.
Yeah, go right ahead.
So the first thing, I think it's really cool. Bryan Danielson nominated to the ROH Hall of Fame. He will be inducted. I think he was the second announcement. The first was the Briscoes. Um, man, ROH super influential in wrestling, and I don't think some people understand how influential they were.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah. So I mean, that was a cool little tidbit. Not a lot of talking point to that, but just wanted to point it out. Another thing that we didn't notice that some people I saw were pointing out was Matt Hardy when he walked out on Private Party on Dynamite. It was actually the same exact way, like like how he did it was exactly the same way Jeff walked out on his WWE match.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was surprised that we didn't catch that when we were watching it. I was actually disappointed in myself. I was like, "Oh, Matt's leaving. He's pissed," and it just
Yeah,
for some reason
I
it
was
just
just
didn't
sorry,
even
go ahead.
click to me.
Yeah, I was just so concerned with the Keith Lee debut that I wasn't really giving it much thought. But yeah, I thought it was really cool, and I think on Twitter Matt's been selling it a lot. He called himself erratic, which is how Jeff was described.
Yeah,
Um, but so Matt Hardy's doing a great job at teasing the future. I think he understands that people know what's coming. So, respect your audience. Don't bullshit us. Just, tease that it's coming. And it is.
yeah, absolutely.
Did you see this fake filing for Tony Khan running for Congress?
Yes, and these journalists nowadays, just like Tony Khan said, man, nobody does enough fact checking at all. This guy just reported this off of like a rumor or something.
Yeah, well, it's funny because this was not a headline that came out of the wrestling world. This came out of the football world.
Yep.
For those that don't know, Tony Khan, his dad is the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Don't know how you wouldn't know at this point, but just in case you don't. Um, and so it actually was the story was broken by Pro Football Talk and Ian Rappaport, who is kind of like the Sean Ross Sapp of football. He's the big news guy. He pretty much finds out everything before it happens or as it happens. Um, I thought this was kind of really funny, and I also love when Tony Khan sometimes when Tony Khan can be kind of savage on Twitter,
Yeah.
and he just kind of went in there and just shut it down. And he's like, he kind of took a dig at Tony Schiavone, which I didn't understand, but he basically said that the reporting of Pro Football Talk was like under the level of Tony Schiavone's reporting, which I was like, are you saying Tony Schiavone is not good at reporting? I mean, I think he does a pretty good job, but
No. So because I mean, I'm kind of into the journalism world. He was saying that Tony Schiavone is a way better journalist than this guy. You know what I mean? That's kind of what he
yeah,
meant to say. Is he's like, yo, Tony's way better than this guy. Look at how easily he could have, seen that this was not true.
right, right.
But yeah, he definitely worded it in a way that it made you look at like, did he just talk shit on Tony? But I don't think he meant it that way at all.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I didn't really take it like that, but I just thought the wording was kind of weird, but it was pretty savage. So I mean, I
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
absolutely.
Um, Here's a little bit of a bigger news story. So the ratings came in for Dynamite. Dynamite was number one on cable, beating the NBA and the Olympics. So more people watched All Elite Wrestling Dynamite than they watched the Olympics on Wednesday night.
Fantastic.
Yep, the final number was AEW Dynamite 1.13 million with a .41 in the 18 to 49 demos. Um, it's always great to see them be number one in the ratings, and that demo, man, that demo is important. That's how you keep relevant.
That's how you get your commercials and your sponsors, man.
Yep, unless you're Domino's.
No, Domino's had to come out and say that they were upset, but they loved that. I bet you behind the scenes they were like, "Did you see that? That was amazing."
Yeah, I mean, I always thought Domino's was trash anyway, but I totally boycott Domino's. I don't eat Domino's really before that happened, but now I get to say that I boycott Domino's with zero changes in my life. So
Right on. I got one little piece of news here. I surf Twitter more than I should, and
okay.
I found myself on Brian Myers' page from Impact Wrestling, and he posted a photo of himself with his back and his arms just covered in thumbtacks. He must have had a hardcore match of some sort that I didn't catch this week. And he captioned it with, "I think I'm done with Impact Wrestling," implying that he quit. So I'm not too sure what's going on there, but I'd like to see him in AEW. I thought the way they used him in WWE was just ridiculous.
Yeah, man. I mean, it happens with a lot of guys. They go there and they don't get treated well. They don't get exposed well. They get buried and then they end up on main event.
Oh, Purpleness, you watched Dynamite? That last match was crazy. We got somebody in chat here.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, the
the
last
Lance
match was
Archer
good.
versus Hangman Adam Page match, where they were
Yeah, the
both
Texas Death Match. That was
both
that was great.
covered in blood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that
Um,
match was bananas.
yeah. So I have two more little things here, a real quick one, and then kind of more of a discussion one for our last point, unless you have anything else to add afterwards. AQA is All Elite. She did sign with the company following her match last Wednesday.
Yeah, that surprises me considering besides that shooting star press, that match was pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean, I could just see it be kind of a. I don't think it's a major signing. I just think it's a signing where you're going to see her regularly on Elevation or Dark. She'll
Yeah.
probably do some enhancement matches against losing efforts. I would think at first,
Yeah, and
but I mean,
I almost think it's kind of a an olive branch towards Booker T, kind of
yes,
getting him to
WWE
stop being
greatest
such a
heel.
homer with WWE and possibly say something good about them for once.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the idea there. I mean, like at some point, this guy's gonna have to wake up and
Yeah.
be like, maybe WWE isn't perfect, which they're not.
And you hire a wrestler of his or two, he can't really badmouth the company much anymore.
Yeah, I
So,
know. Kind of funny. I don't think Tony Khan does it for that reason, but it is kind of a funny little side effect of it.
yeah. No, that shooting star press was absolutely gorgeous. I wouldn't be surprised if he hired her just for that.
Yeah, most likely. So the last thing on my list, which will be an ongoing discussion, but we could touch on it today. So Kyle O'Reilly did an interview, and he was talking about when he knew he was leaving WWE. Did
Yes,
you
I've
see
been
this?
waiting to talk to you about this.
Yes. So during the interview, he said he was talking with WWE higher ups, and he thought his contract was actually not going to expire when it did. He thought he had another 6 months on it. They approached him about resigning, and they said, usually we try to resign a little bit further out, but yours, there was a mix up where it just kind of happened where you're about to expire, but let's talk. Which it seemed like that was a big thing with a lot of NXT guys last year, and a lot of them left. Um, so during it, he said that at one point, one of the WWE guys he was talking to, the powers that be, as he said, we don't want pro wrestlers. Um, Kyle O'Reilly said, well, I'm a pro wrestler and I want to be a pro wrestler. So I need to go somewhere where I can be a pro wrestler.
Yep.
And I think it's just, once again, it's just the insanity of that company to not understand, to really just not get it.
No.
Like, they want guys who are like football players and basketball players and MMA fighters, and they want to bring these guys in and oh, I can make that guy a wrestler. Oh, I can make that guy a wrestler. But it's like, what does that say? Like, if you're a wrestler in the industry, like, what does that say to you about them? Like you think wrestlers can just be replaced and like it's easy to be a professional wrestler? Like, it's not.
No,
I'm a fan of this stuff. I wouldn't last 2 seconds as a wrestler.
you
Like,
can't just teach that, that there's a passion there that you either are absolutely in love with it or you're not. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, hey, let's play wrestling. You know?
yeah, and it's very disheartening, to see where that company has ended up. It's not good, and
No.
it's great for AEW and it's great for the rest of the wrestling world. I mean, it's really funny that WWE has always tried to squash its competitors, but they're the reason, like their lack of understanding, their failure to captivate their audience is the reason why the wrestling world is where it's at, where it's better than it's ever been. There's work everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're talking about warrior wrestling,
Yeah.
like which no slight on them, but it's like if I say name top wrestling companies, you're gonna say AEW, WWE, Impact,
Impact, NJW.
NJW, um, and then you get to the NWAs and the GCWs, and then you go even down further. You go to the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, PGW, and then you get down to like Warrior Wrestling,
Yeah.
But there's just work everywhere. Like there's opportunities out there for wrestlers to go out and do work and do great work.
I mean,
Um,
I think we could put Warrior maybe one tier higher because they got Thunder Rosa as their female champion and Will Ospreay as their men's champion.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely a great point. I
Yeah.
mean, it comes down to preference. What do you prefer? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
It's
I'm
not
gonna
even that
give
there's
them. I'm gonna give them my first watch this weekend. I know that much.
yeah. So I thought that was a really interesting tidbit from O'Reilly. I think that it there's going to be a documentary someday. It's going to be like the fall of WWE, and like things like that are going to be mentioned in that documentary. You know what I mean? Like I always envision the documentary opening with the fans booing from the end of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view where Seth in the Hell in a Cell versus the Fiend, just the fans' reaction after that match, just booing it, just shitting on it. I always imagine that documentary that'll exist one day opening with that. Maybe who knows? Maybe I'll make the documentary. We'll
Right.
see.
Let's
If
do
somebody
it.
doesn't make it in a few years, I'll make it.
Yeah, we could do it. I'll edit it.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Um, but let's not harp on the negative. We had overall a really great week of AEW action this week. Great debuts, great wrestling matches, great promos, great segments. All around great week.
Yeah, AEW's absolutely killing it right now. I couldn't ask for much more. The only thing I want now is I got two guys left. I want Samoa Joe and Wyndham, and I'll be a happy, happy, happy wrestling fan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'll be happy for Joe and all that. The last one that I need on my Infinity Gauntlet of my favorite wrestlers joining AEW is Wyndham.
Yep.
Once he's there, like obviously there'll be more people that come. That'll be great. But at that point, I could be like, they don't have to sign anyone else. Just let the company exist as it is, the roster as it is, and for a long time, we'll be good.
Yep.
But it won't happen. It'll get better because more people will come regardless.
All right. Let's see here. You got anything else on the news front there?
No, that pretty much wraps me up. I mean, all the hype was around the debut this week, so I felt like actually in terms of news outside of Dynamite's debuts, not a very busy news week. I mean, it's kind of a quiet, enjoyable week.
Yeah, we might get some stuff leaking out here over the next couple days over the weekend, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Obviously, we'll definitely report on it here on the Broken Tables podcast.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. Everybody, make sure you guys check in with us tomorrow on the channel. We will have a new video going up. Um, New video is going to be about how AEW now has 5 former NXT World Champions on their roster, and I have a feeling we're going to have 6 soon. So we'll debate on who we think that 6th one might be, because I think we have three of them out there roaming the world. So we'll get into that tomorrow in one of our next videos, and Other than that, everybody, thanks for joining us on the Broken Tables podcast, and have a great night.
See you later.